essentially raise someone's pain threshold right in the middle of a conversation by future pacing them, or even more elegantly, by just leading them a bit and getting them to actually talk about their own tale of woe. See, people love to tell you their tale of woe. So to amplify someone's pain, all you have to do is wait for a potential spore spot to come up while you're doing your intelligence gathering, and then ask them to expand on it. Just say in a very compassionate tone, really, tell me more about that. And there your own spoken words are, I'd really like to know because I care. That's my tonality there. I'd really like to know, I care. Then just sit back and listen and nod your head with the right body language and listen as they pour their heart out to you. And they themselves will actually amplify their pain for you. That's the secret. People love to amplify their own pain. They love to amplify their words. It's basically how human beings are built. We just pick at our own scabs, and we have a tendency also to view our problems as being much bigger than they actually are. Now, let's talk syntax for a second. There are two primary places where we look to dig out and, if necessary, amplify a person's pain. First, we do it right in the beginning, while we're gathering intelligence, and the reason we do it there is because you want your prospect measuring your offer against his feeling of pain, a pain which hopefully your product will then alleviate at some point, as opposed to him being in a complete state of denial of his pain, thinking that he's feeling just fine and dandy, and then measuring your offer against that feeling of, feeling kind of complacent and feeling just fine. In other words, there's actually an inverse relationship between your pain threshold and your action threshold. Watch for a second here. Notice the two lines and what happens as the level of pain increases, the action threshold begins to drop in near perfect lockstep. And when someone's in massive pain, the action threshold literally drops right down through the floor. Let's use my father again, for example. Now, under normal circumstances, he's one of the least trusting people in the entire world, right? And especially when it comes to his car. In fact, he actually thought his car was alive when I was growing up. He used to call it she. She's got a rattle, she's low on gas, she needs a good wash, my girl. Yeah, my father's a little bit nutty. He used to clean and buff his car as if our family's lives depended on it. I mean, literally 5 years later, his car still looked completely brand new and still smelled brand new as well. He loved his car, right? He wouldn't let anybody touch his car except some guy named Joe, who was the head mechanic at the local Sunoco station, right? Because like I said before, once a person with a high action threshold finds someone they like and trust, they'll never, ever leave them. Yet despite how much he loved his car and how much he loved and trusted Joe, I distinctly remember one time being in northern New Jersey, about 75 miles from home, and my father's water pump in the car had broke and she started to overheat. And guess what my dad did? You got it, went to the first gas station, there, boom, gets the girl fixed. Why? Pain. He was in pain, he had a problem, so he acted on his pain right there. His action threshold dropped through the floor, and boom, you raise the pain threshold, it lowers the action threshold, and like my father did, he made a decision. And so this is why we introduce pain in two spots. First in the beginning, as they're measuring our offer, we want to make sure they're measuring it against pain, and then again in the end, when they're on the fence, and we can't quite get them to cross over, right? We can't get their level of certainty above the action threshold, so we add on the pain, it lowers the action threshold, and bam, the magic starts to happen.